I'm going to go through the solutions to the 1.07 assessment, unit cubes and volume. So we're going to start with this first example. It says, find the volume of the rectangular prism with the following dimensions. Remember, volume equals length times width times height. So our dimensions here are length, which is 2 centimeters, width, which is 1.5 centimeters, and height, which is 3 centimeters. So in order to find the volume, I need to do length times width times height. So I'm going to take my length, which is 2, multiply it by my width, which is 1.5, and then multiply it by my height, which is 3. So first, I need to do this 2 times 1.5. So I'm going to do 1.5 times 2. 2 times 5 gives me 10. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. I have 1 decimal up here, so I need 1 in my answer. So this just equals 3. So 2 times 1.5 is 3. And I still have to multiply this by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. And then I was dealing with centimeters, so my label would be centimeters cubed. So 9 centimeters cubed. So that's this answer right here. Okay? The second example, again, I'm going to go find volume of a rectangular prism with the following dimensions. Remember, volume equals length times width times height. So my first one, my length is 5.5 yards, width 1/5 of a yard, height 2 yards. So I'm going to do volume equals length times width times height. So my length is 5.5, my width is 1/5, height is 2. So before I can multiply, I need to change all my numbers to fractions. So this 5.5 I have to change to an improper fraction. So 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. So I have 11 over 2, and then I have 1/5 is already a fraction, and 2 I just need to put over 1. So 2 over 1. Now from here I'm going to multiply across my tops and my bottoms. So 11 times 1 is 11, times 2, 22. In the bottom, 2 times 5 is 10, times 1, 10. So now from here, I need to just simplify. So I'm going to go ahead and divide top and bottom by 2. So 22 divided by 2 is 11. 10 divided by 2 gives me 5. So now I have an improper fraction, so I just need to change that to a mixed number. So I'm going to take 11 and divide that by 5. 5 goes into 11 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. Subtract and I get 1. And then my remainder becomes my numerator. What I'm dividing by is my denominator. So this equals 2 and 1/5. And my label would be yards cubed. So 2 and 1/5 yards cubed, which is this answer right here. Okay? The next 3 examples, we have one more volume example, and then we'll get into the unit cubes. So for this example, again, we're going to do volume equals length times width times height. My length is 1 1/4 meters, width 5/8 meters, height 3/4 of a meter. So again, volume equals length times width times height. So my length is 1 1/4 times my width, which is 5 over 8, and my height 3 over 4. So I need to change this mixed number to an improper fraction, so I'm going to go around the world. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Keep the same denominator, and then I have 5/8, 3/4. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply across. 5 times 5 is 25, times 3 gives me 75. 4 times 8 is 32. and then 32 times 4, I'm going to do that off to the side, so 32 times 4, 2 times 4 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, so I get 128 in the bottom there. And now this can't be simplified, so this is my final answer, so I just need my label, which is meters cubed. So 75 over 128 meters cubed is my answer. Okay? The next example, I have a rectangular prism that has the dimensions below. How many cubes of a quarter unit, okay, that's how big my cubes are required to completely pack the prism without any gap or overlap. So my length is 1.5 inches, width 1/2 inch, height 1/2 inch. So my first step, I am going to take my length, width, and height and divide them by this quarter unit so I can see how many of those smaller cubes fit in the length, width, and height. So first I'm going to start with my length. So I'm going to take the 1.5 and divide that by 1/4. So I have to change this 1.5 to a fraction before I can do keep, change, flip. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3, so I have 3 over 2 divided by 1/4. So I keep the 3 over 2, change division to multiplication, and flip 1/4 to 4 over 1. I can simplify on my diagonal. 3 and 1 can't, but 2 and 4 I can divide by 2, so I get 1 and 2. And then I multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6, 1 times 1, 1, and 6 over 1 equals 6. So that means 6 of these 1/4 cubes can fit my length. So now I'm going to repeat that process for my width. So my width is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to do 1/2 divided by 1/4. So both my numbers are fractions, so I can go ahead and do my keep, change, flip. So keep the 1/2, change division to multiplication, flip 1/4 to 4 over 1. 1 and 1 doesn't simplify, but 2 and 4 I can divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2, 2. Now I multiply across. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 1, 1. And 2 over 1 equals 2. So this means that 2 of these 1/4 inch cubes can fit my width. Now I also have to do this for my height. And my height here is 1/2 inch, so I'm going to do 1/2 divided by 1/4. So keep, change, flip. I can simplify my diagonal, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1 times 2, 2. 1 times 1, 1. And then 2 over 1 equals 2. So this means that 2 of those 1/4 inch cubes can fit in my height. Now, to get the number of cubes, I just need to multiply these 3 numbers together. So I'm going to do 6 times 2 times 2. So 6 times 2 is 12, and then 12 times 2, 24. So that means I need 24 of these small cubes. Last example is very similar, okay, same process. We have a prism with dimensions below, and this time we have 1/8 unit cubes, okay? So I'm first going to take my length, which is 1 1/4, and I divide it by that 1/8. So I need to change the 1 1/4 to a fraction, so go around the world. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, so 5 over 4, and then dividing by 1/8. So keep the 5 over 4, change division to multiplication, flip 1 over 8 to 8 over 1. 5 and 1 can't simplify 5, but 4 and 8 can, so divide by 4. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Now I'm going to multiply across. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 times 1, 1. 10 over 1 equals 10. So that means 10 of those 1/8 inch cubes can fit in my length. Now I'm going to go to my width. My width is 5/8 inches, and I'm going to divide that by 1/8. Both my numbers are fractions, so I can go ahead and do my keep, change, flip. So keep the 5/8, change division to multiplication, flip 1/8 to 8/1. 5 and 1 can't simplify, but 8 and 8 can be divided by 8. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 8 divided by 8 is 1. 5 times 1, 5. 1 times 1, 1. 5/1 equals 5. So that means 5 of these 1/8 inch cubes can fit in the width. The height we have to do as well. So the height is 1/8 of an inch. So I need to figure out how many of those 1/8 inch cubes fit in there. So I have to do 1/8 divided by 1/8. So keep the 1/8, change division to multiplication, flip 1/8 to 8/1. 1 and 1 doesn't simplify, but 8 and 8 I can divide by 8, and I get 1. So now I multiply across. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1, 1. 1/1 equals 1. So my last step is to figure out the number of cubes. And here I just need to multiply the 10, 5, and 1 to figure out the number of cubes. So 10 times 5 times 1. 10 times 5 is 50, and then 50 times 1 gives me 50. So 50 of those small cubes would be needed to fill this rectangular prism.